Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody? Hi, Mo, the hostess with the mostess. Really? Hi, Mariah. And Patricia, if you're there.
Which one are we talking to?
Hey, Pinker. Okay, tonight we've been mad scientists backstage here doing last minute experiments because we can. Really? Can you die outside, please? It's all right, hubby's just having a coughing fit in the background. Where was I? When I was rudely interrupted. So we are going to, hey, Miriam, how you doing? Hey, Maddie. We are playing with texture and grunge today. It started off as grunge and it's moved on into texture because we were just mad scientists.
They go together.
They do go together. They go together perfectly.
Like peanut butter and jelly.
That's all. That's exactly right. I'm just going to put it on me for a second. I'm just going to show the amount of stupidity and texture that I have in my collection. Patrick! Goodness me. I'm live.
I'm sorry, I was coughing.
Jeez Louise. Alrighty, so I started pulling my texture paste. He hasn't coughed all morning, and now all of a sudden he's coughing. Don't you love a live? So I have got to show you this ridiculousness, which I need to use. So I've got light modelling paste. I've got embossing paste. I've got grainy texture paste, crackle paste, ceramic stucco texture gel, fibre paste, glass beads paste, mixed media paste with gesso, fibre paste, etc., 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 all of which I've used, some of, all of which need to be used before they go hard. Some of them probably are because I can't get the lids off. It's an alarm. So what we're going to do today is just play. Basically, we're going to see what we can get out of different textures, different ways of getting texture with the stuff we already have in our studio. Some things people might not have, other things you may need to get because they're just awesome.
Because we're going to talk about how awesome they are, right?
Exactly. So let's play. Let's put it on you first, and you can show us how you're going to do some texture stuff. Okay. So anybody that hasn't noticed, this is Debbie from Kipps Korner.
Hello, everyone. And first of all, Di, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. So hopefully we will have some fun. So I also pulled some paper texture paste. And I also pulled, they're called mini art stones, and it's easier to see. For some reason, my light is really bright. There you go. It's almost like coarse sand. So I pulled some of that. So that's the texture. But then I also grabbed some walnut ink crystals that you dissolve in water. So this is gives you a nice walnut color to things. I pulled some paints, a couple of acrylics. I pulled yellow ochre and raw umber. Raw umber is a must-have in my stash. And I also pulled, it's like my favorite. I also pulled mahogany, and this is it's called Fresco Finish. It's a chalky acrylic from Seth Apter. And then I've got some string and some sandpaper. I've got some rusted metal bits and pieces and parts here. All of the rusted metal, before I do really anything with them, it's real rust. I coat it with a coat of glossy accents. It's not as glossy as you might think, and we can tone that down. So that's one of the things we can talk about, but it protects the rust from I always have at least 1 or 2 cuts on my hands. Speaking of rust, I also brought my Paper Artsy rusting powder, which I'll talk more about.
Yes, get that.
Stencils,
really fun.
Yeah, it's so fun. Stencils, which you can't get enough of. I brought some antique lace, a fabric strip that was in a rust bath, and some fabric that's not grungy yet, but it's going to get grungy. And then I show you this. This is packaging material. This is a craft colored packaging material. My light is
Hi Beth. Hi Jenny.
And this is rusty, way more rusty colored than it's coming up on my screen. It's a rusted handmade paper, rusty colored handmade paper. I can't talk.
Hey Leah.
That's probably enough for now. I'm getting ready to start a new journal that I'm going to use Samperia's old lace paper, scrapbooking paper pad. And so nice. I'm starting with, so it's going to be a grungy lace and leather kind of look to it. And so I cut a couple pieces out of those pages. These are just some that I cut out. And then I cut a tag out and I sloppy sewed around it. So I went ahead and did that in advance so I wouldn't have to kind of leave to go do that because my sewing machine's on the other side of the room. And I'll talk about that as a texture, or we can talk about that as a texture. And then I've just got some other papers that are starting out for me with a little bit of the grunge going on already. This one's from Lorna Taylor's chipped paint pad.
Yeah.
And then the base of the tag is going to be from that Stamperia paper pad. And then I'm going to use, this is a Prima Marketing memory hardware chipboard tag. So it's got a little bit of thickness to it. And I like using these, or Tim Holtz has a set as well, just when I'm putting a lot of layers and a lot of mediums and a lot of moisture and things like that. I like using a thicker tag just to support it. What I started to say is I'm getting ready to start a new journal. And when I create journals, I always try to make at least one chipboard, heavy, mixed media, lots of layers, lots of texture, at least one tag to go with the journal. So that's what I'm going to focus on tonight. Prima Marketing's tags come with a sticky front paper that you just peel off. And this is sticky. Yeah, I ignore that. So we'll talk about that. That's not sticky enough. So I pull that off and then glue my paper on top with real glue.
The glue, they come with anything like that. Exactly.
Glue. Don't trust it. Don't trust it. So that's enough. You can take it off of me big, make me small.
Get off me. Let's see. Awesome. So I've just plugged in my glue gun because I'm doing an experiment here that I've used before, but not. I put some black glue gun stick in my glue gun, which was a dumb idea because lucky I've got another glue gun that I can put normal glue in, but I need to get it out of my glue gun. So that's what I'm going to do tonight, is get rid of it. But I'm going to show you how to get texture with glue gun. So that's another little thing. And when you were talking about your rusty bits, this is what I use to rub over my rusty bits to keep the rust in, but it's not glossy at all. The Distress Glaze, it's brilliant for rust.
Yeah. Anything like that that's going to kind of just put a coating on there. You could even use...
So that's what they look like with the glaze.
You could use matte medium and just, in a brush and put a texture coating on it that way. There's a lot of different things to do. And I just always, better safe than sorry. I don't, no reason not to do it. It just takes a second.
What seems personal, Mariah? Are you being harassed by us? Not all pizza.
Not all
Exactly.
pizza equally. That is true.
I'm just going to wait for this. For those who have been following me for a while, you remember my find at the thrift store, the glue foil, these glue foil sheets, copper. I have run them through my embossing machine, through my Sizzix with an embossing folder, and I have got these. So I'm going to show you how I get this really cool grunginess on the shiny copper. And these have the glue on the back. The matte side is glue side, so you put that down on whatever you want to stick it to. It will stick to glass, metal, wood, cardstock, even a rough surface. It will grab onto the hide bits to give you a glued. You heat it up with your heat gun. You can iron it, but that gets rid of the texture you've put in there. So just heat it up with a glue gun, with a glue gun. The words is hard. Heat it up with a heat gun and it will stick to whatever you want it to stick to, and it's brilliant fun. So I'll just start grunging up some of that. And I use these patinas, the patina for metal. They were made for the vintage line of Ranger. They brought out a special machine, the vintage, and it embosses and etches metal blanks. But I like the patinas, so the patinas work on all metals, and they are very cool. And I just use a piece of sponge for that.
And hello, everyone coming in, and it's here. Too many for me to list.
Hi, yeah. Hi, Jolly John. Bye.
Danielle and Lydia and Carrie and hello.
Hi everyone, welcome. So I buy a packet of sea sponges and I use them until they're hard. I very rarely wash them because I'm lazy. I just use them. I do wash them. I throw them in my paint water and wash them, but they don't last forever. So I just cut bits off and use it willy-nilly. Let's give these a shake.
So I'm starting off with my sandpaper here. So I just put that paper down with some glue. And what I'm doing now is going around the edge to sand down that paper to wear it down so that it looks old and worn intentionally. One of the things that can happen if you get too aggressive, which I often do, is you can rip your paper. I actually lean into that and say, okay, cool, my paper's ripped now. That'll help me with getting that grunge. This has got sewing on the edge, so it's probably not going to happen. But then I just unevenly sand around it, if that makes sense. It's a good first start. Not these, oops, go ahead.
No, you're right. I was just going to say these patinas have a binder in them that is much like clay, wet clay, and it does clog very easily.
And
yes, be rough. Be rough.
It makes a mess. Let's wipe it up.
They're all going to be clogged, of course.
I don't know if that'll show up very well, but you can see here I actually kind of started ripping sewing the thread.
Let me put you on close.
Right here, you can see kind of how I started to rip the thread. All those little itty bitty tiny details in your layers help add to the grunge, even though it's quite possible that I end up covering that up. I don't know at this stage whether or not I will, but you can kind of see where the edge is starting to get worn now. If I can get it to focus. There you go.
Very cool indeed.
Simple little thing to do. Very simple. I'm focusing. I mean, I decided to try to focus on real simple things tonight so that in hopes that this something like a piece of sandpaper, for example, is something that you would all have lying around the house.
Yes.
Use it.
I'll get back to that. I'll get back to the stuff everybody has in a minute. I just wanted to show you how to do this.
Diane has cool stuff.
I have far too much stuff. So I've been doing a really big clean out, and my dining room looks like a store at the moment. So come shopping.
I wish you lived closer.
But the problem is with that is you walk past it every day and then something will go, oh, that I forgot I had that. And it comes back into my craft room. So it needs to go soon. Soon.
Let's see. What do I want to do here? Oh, it's still big on me.
Oh, oops. You've got to say, get off me.
Get off of me. Yeah. It's not, I get
renowned.
I was going to say, I get oddly nervous on these kinds of things. Don't ask me why. I just do.
No need to be nervous. We're playing.
I know. Okay. Rip. Another way to get grunge, of course, is to rip everything. Don't use scissors on anything. I'm going to set that card as the tag aside, and I'm going to show you. Let me get something underneath this real quick. And let me get more than just that. Let me get a piece of this. I'm going to show you this resting powder. It's just called resting powder. It's by Paper Artsy. And I just found out that you can't get it if you're in Australia, right?
Look, every time I've gone to get it, and I've been trying to get that for 3 years now, it always says, no matter which store I go to online, it says sold out. So I've never actually seen it in stock. So I don't know whether they're not buying it or whether it goes immediately. It's just...
We're all going to buy you a jar and ship it to you. This comes in this little container. And what I do as soon as mine arrives is I poke a hole in the top. And I do that because if I just unscrew the lid and try to shake this out, I'm going to use way more than I should. And I'm one of those people who uses way more than I should anyway. So I have to figure out ways to, make me not do that. So I poke a hole in the top with a pin, and then I just take a thumbtack and store it with a thumbtack sitting through that hole so that I don't have to worry about, it's not a big enough hole to fall. It's not going to fall out if it tips over, in other words, even though I have a hole in it. So then what I do is take fabric, paper, any, really you can use this on so many different things. And if you've got some in your stash and you've never used it, I strongly recommend you pull that out and just start playing with it. And so basically what I'm going to do, there's a bunch of different ways to do this. It's just like any powder. You can pre-mix it, or you can, shake it out dry and get your pieces wet. And you want to get your pieces wet, in this case, with vinegar. And I use apple cider vinegar so that I can tell that that's not water. It's because I have several spray bottles lined up together, And so the color of that liquid, I don't accidentally mistake this for water.
Is it healthier?
Does it what?
Is it healthier?
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. It still stinks though. It's vinegar. I mean, come on. You just sprinkle it on. I'm gonna just kind of randomly put some sprinkle dabs on all of this stuff. Let me get some in here, and I'm gonna get some on my paper. Now, the rusting powder does do better if you let it process on its own. In other words, sprinkle it on, spray it down, and then walk away from it and let it dry. I'm going to help it along tonight just in the interest of time because we don't have 24 hours and you don't want to be here for 24 hours.
We might.
I got to work tomorrow morning. I'm going to spray this down, set it aside for about 10 minutes or so. We'll come back to it. And then I'll heat dry it and we'll see what happens. It won't be quite as good of an effect as what it would have been if I'd have let it just sit. But it should still work enough for us. So I usually spray and then sprinkle a little bit more again. So I probably use way too much. So just keep that in mind.
We like lots of grunge, lots of rust.
Okay, so we're gonna set this aside and come back to it in a few minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Now you can take it off of me. Get off of me.
Get off me. Oh, geez, hang on. Got rid of you altogether.
That's one way of doing it.
I'm trying to get some.
She's gonna kick me out, guys.
My light is being a pain in the butt. So here's my grungy piece of metal. Looks rusty.
Ooh. That's pretty.
So I'm going to put that over there to dry. And my glue gun is hot. So let's get some glue down and use that same sponge.
Black glue is going to be cool.
I'm just going to put it on really grungy, like, oh, look, now I've gone all at once and I've got no glue left. Do I put another black one in? Do I? Yeah.
It's a different way.
Here I am telling you that I need to get the black out of my glue gun, and I'm going to put more in. All right. So just using that piece of sponge that I just used before, I'm going to let it go. I left it dry too long while I was looking for my glue gun, my glue stick. So I should have used it on black because you can get really good texture, especially if you're using, I wanted to put it on the cream to show you the amount of texture you get, but I would put this on a black card. Black journal cover or whatever. Let's put some down here. All right. It doesn't show up well on the camera, but you can see. I should have pulled some stamps out to do the stamps in it. But I'm not going to do that because I can't find them.
I just pulled out a little bit of texture paste onto to mix. The texture paste has a texture in it, but I'm going to add some of these mini art stones to it. Not a lot, just to give it a little bit more texture. I'm also going to add, let's see, let's go with, do we want to use, okay, audience participation, yellow ochre or raw umber, color-wise. What do we think?
Oh, why can't we have both? I like them together.
Okay, we can do that. Oops. All right, let's start with yellow ochre. I'm just going to drop a way more than I needed to. Drop of paint in there. Most of your texture paste, your acrylic mediums, you can add color to. Just be careful that you don't add too much, or you'll change the structure of the stuff. That was the technical way of me saying you'll mess it up. But you can't add color.
That was dry. So my fiber paste was dried out.
Do you want me to mix? That looks way more yellow than it really is. That's yellow ochre. That's got a darker. Let me look at my settings real quick here and see if I can get my color in a better place.
Okay, so I'm just going to do a sheet of on this black paper of the different modeling pastes and that I have, just so you can see a little of the different textures that it does.
No, that's not really doing anything. Did it? No, it really didn't.
Yeah, that's a little more ochre-y than it was yellow.
Okay. Let's put some brown in there too. You want me to mix them together?
Yeah, marble them.
Okay.
That would be cool. That would be very cool. Okay, so this is...
Diane is not eligible for audience participation. Oh. I got lots of raw umbers.
I can be, or I can. Okay, I'll shut up from now on when you ask a question.
You're being told.
Shut up, Diane.
All right, let's mix it. I'm going to mix it together.
Liquitex.
We'll see what color we get. Mud. We're going to end up with mud.
Hi, Carmen.
I don't like that. That does look gross. It looks like baby poo.
Poopy.
Yep. Looks like a dirty diaper. Okay, hang on. Let's see. Let's play some more.
Those colors are always going to end up baby poo.
Now I'm going to put some mahogany in there. Let's see what happens. Okay, this is getting interesting.
Okay, look, now this is an unopened, I've just opened it, never used it, grainy texture paste, and it's as hard as a rock. This is use it or lose it. This is such a waste of money.
Don't let that stuff sit on your counter, on your shelf. Let's see.
There's another new one.
Baby poop mode. Let's just go with more of this. Now I'm starting to add too much color, and so this is getting really thin. So I'm going to add some more art stones. Hopefully that'll absorb some of that moisture. like
It
that.
wasn't even open, Maddie. It was still sealed. I hadn't even opened it, so this stuff will go off.
That is so sad too when that happens. It's happened to all of us probably.
It's never been opened, and I had a whole set, a complete set of Ranger crackle paint, all different colours, because I love crackle paste and that. And this was already pre-coloured, and I thought that would be fun. And then we had the storm that killed the shop, and we had to move out, and we had it in storage for a year. And this is brand new stuff, still in the plastic wrap. And when I opened it, it was all rock hard. And that's hundreds of dollars down the drain. So hence this series of use it or lose it.
And we just proved why it's all worth the series. Okay, now I've got mud, but I actually like it. Get that off of there.
Pain in the butt. It is. So this is Little Birdie.
That's actually almost that color. See the color on here? This is almost that color.
That's really cool.
So I added some black. So I think what I'm going to do is find a stencil. And since this is a little bit softer than the texture paste or modeling paste by itself, because I added way too much paint to it, I'm going to look for a stencil that has smaller openings to it as opposed to bigger openings so that it doesn't just get all up underneath the stencil. That makes sense? But I want something that's going to look kind of cool, grungy wise. One of my favorite go-to from Tim Holtz anyway is this one. It's got all the little holes in it. You can see how my stencils, I don't do a very good job of cleaning my stencils.
You clean stencils?
Well, I don't do a very good job. I try.
Very well. I only clean them off when I'm using.
I'm going to pull out, you know what? I'm going to pull out like 3 or 4 stencils and you guys are going to tell me which one to use. How's that?
And I'll shut up, okay?
And
okay, Maggie?
Di does not get a vote. Promise, guys. I will not listen to her.
Listen to me. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
I feel like I need one more to pick from. Little holes, Debbie. Little holes.
Hi, Ari.
Okay, here we go. Let's try this one. Okay. All right, audience participation.
Zips it.
I do need some PM Artist Studio stencils. That is so true. All right, here you go. You've got X's. That's A. This is like kind of like burlap. There you go. B. This is splattery splats. Splat stuff. C. And these are the little holes. D. I will, Mariah. Absolutely. So A, B, C, or D?
Get your votes in.
Burlap or splats? B or C? B. That's two votes for burlap. Okay, burlap wins. Let's put some burlap texture on there.
Just for an FYI, I would have said burlap.
Oh, you would have. All right, let's see. I'm just going to do, whoops, I just plunked that right on the, good job. Messy. You can hear I think you can anyway, you can kind of hear the gravelly sound of those art stones that I added to this.
Well, I just use throw it away. So I've just used this Liquitex glass beads texture gel, which is basically what you've made, but this comes in a jar already made.
I have some and I love it. All right, let's set this aside. We're making a mess.
I'm not going to do crackle because it takes too long.
Yeah, I love crackle, but
so crackle paste is an absolutely awesome piece of kit to have, but you have to have patience. And when you're doing a live, patience is not something that you need to put into the.
Hi, Tina.
Hi, Tina. Hi, Carmen. Hi, Beth.
Empty Nest Crafter. Yes, we're making tags, and our goal is to use stuff that we've got to make them grungy.
Make it grungy and add texture.
Lots of layers.
Is
that too loud?
Nope, can't hear it.
Oh, good.
Sorry. Hi, anyone else I've missed coming in? Because I'm having fun, making a mess. All right. That one is Liquitex. And the last one.
One of my other favorite products to use to add layers and texture, different kind of texture, is Gilder's Wax Paste. And there's Gilder's Wax Paste is also the brand name, but it's wax paste, it's wax. And then Prima Marketing has a line of a bunch of different kinds and colors. So I'm going to go over some of these highlights of this brown spots, this mud that I created with gold first. This is vintage gold, so it's got a little bit of an antique look to it. And what that'll do is just help give more depth to this and put some pretty highlights on it.
Gold makes everything perfect.
So pretty. The gold is actually probably not the one I use the most often, but I really like Bronze Age.
I love bronze. Bronze is my absolute go-to metallic of any time, anything in metals, in paint, in.
Agree.
That's my access thing. But I have been finding that the gold can highlight and make it even better. Like it can give you those just highlights, just a touch of it in there with your bronze and your black. And if you so happen to get a bit of black ink or paint mixed on your finger with the gold, that's even better. It's beautiful. Comes up with a really pretty.
Very pretty.
Oh no, I've rusted my glass mat.
And this one is patina. If I can get, I always have a hard time getting this one open because there we go. My hands can't. And I use the patina sparingly because I want it to look, I don't want it the whole thing to be that color. I just want a tiny little touch of it.
Look at that grunge. Just get rid of these.
And I get it up underneath my fingernails. I don't know if you can see that or not. But you see how it adds extra. Just a little bit of extra.
Oh, that's very cool.
Subtle. Okay. What else do I want to do?
I'm going to show
on this.
These swatches that I've just done so that you can see them up close. So the first one here is the Liquitex glass beads, and that's this one here.
When that dries, that is so pretty.
Which is really, really cool. Hopefully it'll be drier by the end of the stream. So that's that one.
That might be one that you could hit with the heat and it'd be okay. If you don't burn your beads.
Yeah, I'll just leave it for now. I'll see how it is at the end. I'll take a photo and put it on Instagram when it's all dry. This is the golden fiber paste, which is this one, and it's like when you melt marshmallows, so it has that stringy look inside it, which is very hard to see. This is the Little Birdie 2-in-1 gesso and modeling paste, so that's this gorgeous dark grey, and it dries matte, which is really cool because it has that gesso in it. So if you want something that's not glossy, the ceramic stucco, where are you? This is the Liquitex ceramic stucco texture gel, and this dries matte, and it has a really, really sandy texture. See how it looks like?
Yeah, you can see it's coming across very nicely.
Yeah, that is really cool. This is just your normal modeling paste, which is Liquitex light modeling paste, and that's just a normal everyday run-of-the-mill, nothing special. And this is Dreamweaver pearl paste, which is a texture paste with a pearl, and that's really hard to see on screen. It actually has a real pearl, a very strong pearl finish to it. So they're your different texture pastes that in my kit, and I'm sure that everyone's tried a few different ones. So, and all of those pastes, except for the Little Birdie modelling paste and the Dreamweaver pearl paste can be coloured before you put it through your stencil.
Just don't do what I do and, put too much.
So you can use your re-inkers from your ink pads if you have those, just a drop. Too much will make it watery. And you can also use pigment powders as well. Tiny bit of that. But you've got to work quickly because adding the pigment powder will make them dry faster. So there you go. There's some of that stuff. Oh my goodness, I've got no surfaces left to put things to dry. Onto the floor now. All righty. Let's tear a bit of this off. And this sort of thing is really good for texture as well.
Oh, that's neat.
And this just glues down. It has it's made out of like a silicone rubber mixture, and I'm sure they just squirt it to get that texture. It's really funny, weird stuff, but it glues really well and it makes really good texture. And this stuff can just be peeled. Just peeling it gives you texture without even adding anything to it. Get my little why am I still on me? Just stop doing that.
I don't know if you guys want to see what I'm doing. I'm manhandling a rusty safety pin. I want to use this safety pin as his body for the focal point, which is going to be this moth, and I want to twist it around. So it's not easy to do. And I'm trying to get this back over here and back pinned back again. All over my hand.
Blue. Where's my black one gone?
Okay, this is not working. What's plan B? Do I have a plan B? All right, let's try this. When in doubt, get out the big tool.
So I'm just putting some inks from the ink pads down on my glass mat. And I'm going to squirt it.
I'm still fighting with the safety pin. It's not doing what I want it to do. So grunge is not necessary. And we talked about a lot of texture pastes and product and things like that, but you can create some kind of fun grunge with, household items like safety pins, for example. This doesn't have to be rusted to get some grunge on it. You could add paint to it. You could add some alcohol ink to it. You know, you could do a lot of different things to get that. Oh, I got it. To get that grungy effect. So this is what I was trying to do. I was trying to twist the safety pin because I want to use it as part of his body, kind of. I think that works. Let's do it.
Hold on, I saw a question back there. What was it? I've lost the question. Maddie asked if I have tried PH Martin liquid watercolor. No, I have not. I have probably 48 different sets of watercolor pens, pencils, pans, tubes, and none of them are the Martin one that you said. No. No. My favorite watercolors are in a pen form are Liquitex, not Liquitex, Winsor and Newton double-ended pens. They're markers, they're watercolor. They are really fun. But my favorite of all watercolor medium Inktense pencils. I love Inktense. I do Inktense on fabric, especially like if you wet a piece of silk or chiffon or something like that and just touch it with Liquitex pencil, it spreads and it bleeds and it is amazing. I love it. So this is, you've got texture, you've got depth, you've got grunge, but it's all one-dimensional. Like there's no height to it. When I say one-dimensional, it's still a flat piece of cardboard, but you've got so much depth by using 3 different wet colours. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is very cool.
So, yeah, texture doesn't have to be textural. It can be visual as well.
I'm going to see this one. Okay. What do we got going on down here? All right. Coming back to the rust paste. In just, I don't know how long that was, what, 15 minutes or so, you can already see that this is all starting to react and work.
Wait.
So here's our lace.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Some rust.
Here's our fabric. Now, you see right here where it's not really, kind of brownish. After I dry this, I'll hit this with a heat tool. And like, remember, it does work better if you don't use a heat tool, but it will be fine. It's just better if you don't. But after I hit this with the heat gun for a second, that's going to become powdery again, and I'll wipe it off, and there'll be some rust underneath. And here is our paper. You can even see my paper towel here underneath. But here's the paper. And you can kind of see, here's where I had it sprayed lighter. You can see where that's coming through. And here's where the powder was heavier, and it's not dry yet. It's not showing the rust yet. It's still working. Here's somewhere it's showing it really nicely. Let's see if I can.
Oh, that is so cool.
So you can kind of see as it's drying how it's beginning to work its magic. I'm going to hit it with some heat. Hi, Ted. Sorry sorry, there's lots of people we have not said hi to. Hi, Lindy. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Lindy.
Bits and bobs and
hi, Joffrey. Yay!
You can take it off of me now. I'm just drying.
Get off me.
Nothing to see here yet. Backside. That's the back, you guys. Diane, you better say hi to Jen. She's going to start crying if you don't.
I already said hello, Jen. You're just not listening. Just not listening, I tell you. She comes in here tired from working all day. Doesn't listen to me when I say hello to her. Hi, Jen, you gorgeous woman. How are you? I've missed you so much since I worked with you yesterday and annoyed you this morning.
It's paper artsy rusting powder. Happy Place Crafting. And did you open it, Lindy?
So another thing that I do is I have a lot of cheesecloth, a lot of cheesecloth, and I will keep a bunch of this beside my workspace and clean up any inks that I have with the cheesecloth. So then you end up with this amazing piece of stuff to add to your grunge. Isn't that just cool? And that's just cleaning up crap off your desk.
Beautiful. Beautifully ugly.
Beautifully ugly, exactly.
Hi, Casey. I saw you come in. Hi, Casey. Yay, Lindy. I'm so excited that you are happy. That's dry. That's dry. All right. I got my mess. So who was it? Did I see, was that Dawn Marie that said you just ordered some? I hope you love it. It's fun to play with. Experiment with it. All right. Here's my paper towel.
Let me just get back on you.
It's wet. Like you can, that's my paper towel. So that, I could save that. Here is, and I want to show you, let me get a cleaner towel, a dry towel. Right here where we're kind of thick, you can leave that. It's got, it's got some chunky, but you can also, oops, hold on. You can also rub this lightly. In those heavier spots, and you can see the rust underneath.
Oh, that is so cool.
So here's, let's see, here's a piece of the fabric before. So the background, other than where I got some splattery, the background doesn't really change, like right through here where I didn't put any, or right up in here where I didn't put any, but just you can tell exactly where I sprinkled it. Here's the lace. Now it's dry. Let me see. Let me put this on something so you can see it. How cool is that?
Oh, that is so cool.
And then here's the paper. Now this is not coming out as rusty as I want it to, so I'm going to rub on this a little bit. This one didn't react as well. It's still just kind of, it's dry now, but it's still just more brown. It still looks cool. There you go. But it's still just more, part of that's my hand color coming through. Let's do this. There you go. You don't see rust on this piece as much. So this was craft paper, and I'm guessing that the color of the craft is sort of messing a little bit with being able to see it, or either that or it's soaking into it so much that it's just not reacting. But it still looks good. I'd still use this. Okay, you can pick it off me now.
I'm impressed. I need some of that.
You do.
Anyone flying over to Australia anytime soon, bring me some rust powder.
All right, let's do this. Where's my scissors? I lost my scissors. What do I want to do? Before I start chopping things apart, I'm going to decide what I'm going to do. Let's see if this is dry. So on this one, on this piece, this is the moth that I cut out of the paper.
Just before you do that, I've just laid some, I'll do a close-up in a minute, but I've just laid some glue down. I'm going to pour some of these micro beads on just for my texture. I'll show you a close-up when I'm finished. So let's have a look at your moth.
I'm going to spray him with some walnut crystals. So there's just a little bit of paint in the middle, but I took that rusty safety pin and I twisted it, and then I smooshed the head and then glued it down to create this rusty metal body. But he's going to be kind of on the very, very top of everything as I begin to glue down my layers. All right.
It's very, very cool. I love moths. I'm going to
break him first. See if he can be drying.
I'm a fan.
Walnut crystals comes, here, let me show you what they look like. They look like charcoal crystals. And I've had this jar probably 3 years. And it's,
well, I've had mine for about 7 years, and I've still only used a quarter of it.
Yeah, it lasts. Let's see, how much have I used? Maybe a quarter of it. Maybe I've used about a quarter of it. It lasts forever. And you just take a pinch, and you can make it stronger or weaker. You just take a pinch and you put it in you just get these little spray bottles from like Amazon, pinch it down in there, add water, shake it up, and it's ready to go.
Hi, April. How you doing?
Let's add some water to that.
Let's add some black. Alrighty, here is my
Oh.
So that is the 3 different inks: the black, the rusty hinge, and vintage photo laid down, add water, smoosh technique. This is the piece of corrugated packaging that I have torn and inked. This is that black moss that I've just torn pieces off. Piece of that grungy cheesecloth, and then the micro beads that I've just randomly.
That's cool. It is gorgeous.
And I just wanted to show you my moth.
Oh, I love it. Look at all those layers.
So I've printed this moth off about 6 times, and I've layered it up with foam tape. You can see the foam tape in there, which I've inked on so it doesn't show up too badly. And then in through the layers, I've stuffed cheesecloth, and I've used stickles and micro beads again just to give it some texture. So
that's gorgeous.
So that's another way of layering, like doing the same photo, same picture. Remember in the old days when we used to do paper towel, and it was really kitschy and really, I don't know, granny, I would say. This is the modern take on paper towel. So, yeah, cool. Put that in there while it dries. I'm going to do some sewing with some copper wire through here as well, just to finish that off. Might do some random crosses with some copper wire when I find my copper wire. I could pull it out of this, I suppose. No, that's too thin. I need thicker wire. Found it. This is how I'm going to finish off my tag.
Are you almost finished?
Only this tag. I'm still playing.
Oh, okay.
Have you not seen this amount of stuff that I haven't used yet?
You know.
Still, and I'd like to find a pokey tool somewhere. I have 7 pokey tools. 7 of them.
One?
You think I can't find one? I can't find one. Oh, here it is. In the wrong spot. So let's poke some holes in here.
I'm not doing a very good job of reading chat. Sorry, guys.
I'm concentrating.
I know. That's what I'm doing.
I like toll painting. I don't know what toll painting is, but paper toll, you used to buy a sheet of paper toll. I've probably got some in my room somewhere. Paper toll, and it would have the background picture, and then it would have, like, if it was a lady, it would have her dress separate, her hat separate, an arm, a leg, a shoe, or something like that, and you just layered them up on top of each other to give a 3-dimensional look. Are you laughing at my amount of pokey tools? My pokey tool addiction? I think very rude. Extremely rude.
Okay, glue. You are here somewhere. Here you are. Look at the back of that fabric. Isn't that pretty? I almost want to use the back of it. No, I'm going to use the front.
I used to do paper towel many years ago. And even back then I was a rebel. I used to go out to the pine forest and find all the bark that was fallen on the ground. Big pieces of odd-shaped bark, and I would give them a coat of lacquer and make them all sealed. And then I would paper towel from wrapping paper, like gum nut babies and stuff on these pieces of wood. That was my idea of paper towel. Because I couldn't afford to buy the sheets, I would just buy or keep random pieces of wrapping paper. Hi, Tammy. Alrighty, there's some random wire. Oh, I've got gel medium up my fingernails and balls everywhere. Just like balls to get in everything.
Oops, that's not open yet. Don't want to use that one.
Does it need a topper? Do I need to put a topper on this tag? Probably.
I am gluing the metal now down, this metal frame thing that's really not a frame. I have no idea what it is. And when I glue dimensional pieces, especially if they have any weight whatsoever, I use matte gel medium. It dries beautifully. It sticks like nobody's business. I can do heavy assemblage pieces with a lot of metal on them, and this stuff works.
I use exactly the same thing, and I've also decanted some matte gel medium into a squirty bottle so I can get it into smaller crevices.
I was going to say, every once in a while, if I have a trouble area, I will pull out the E6000, but I don't do that very often. That is kind of more rare. And what I usually do is just kind of get it on the back, get my piece down where I want it, and then I have silicone brush. They're called silicone brushes. They're really not. They're for working with clay, but they're silicone tips, and wipe up my excess so that I don't have, so when it dries, I don't have globbies all over the place. Glue globs. I'm not a fan of glue globs.
I don't like glue globs either.
No, there's no place for them. So I just take my silicone brush and just kind of wipe back over everything. I usually keep a damp cloth somewhere, wipe the brush off, wipe more, and just keep going around a piece until it's wiped up. And then once I get it wiped up, I clamp it down while it dries, usually, depending on the piece. If it's something where it's got, like this one's got kind of a bend to it, so I'm definitely going to clamp it for a minute and then hit it with the heat while it's clamped. just so I can make sure that it's on there nice and snug. I don't want my tags to fall apart after I finish them. Who would want that? Nobody would want that.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. So clamps, you can get these clamps at the dollar store. These little baby ones, at least in the States.
Yep, I've got yellow ones.
I would not. I mean, for those of you who know me, know that I would not have intentionally bought pink. They just happened to be pink.
We all know you have a secret love of pink.
A secret, yeah.
Pink frou-frou, just like me.
No. My mom tells me I didn't even wear pink when I was a small child. And nor did she ever make me, thank goodness.
Welcome back, Debbie Apps.
Hello, hello.
I was looking for my hole punch, wasn't I, before I was distracted.
Okay, you can take it off of me now.
Oh. Okay, then. I'm off you. Goodness me. I already was off you. I was off you.
Oh, I must have looked up right when you switched it. Or I looked down right when you switched it.
I'm going to do two because it's not centered. Because you dummy. Hi, Cindy. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the grunge off. We had a mermaid off with Mariah.
Oh, fun.
Alrighty, there's one tag done.
Di's going to end up doing like 5 tags, and I'm going to have 1 done.
I've got a rusty star, got some copper sewing on there, cheesecloth, use cheesecloth on the top here. 1 tag done. Wah, wah, wah. So, what else did I have out? We did all our show and tell before we went live, and now I've forgotten what we did.
Oh, we just looked at everything on. Just look at your desk.
Well, I've used the microbeads. I've used the. Oh, we haven't done embossing powder yet.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Texture. So let's emboss. So with this packaging, I will grunge up a whole piece of this, and then I will just tear bits off to decorate a page, but it would be a full piece until then. So, oh, look how gorgeous my nails are. Like my new manicure?
Oh, that looks wonderful. Now you need to get some more black on there.
I know. All right, let us find the embossing stuff, which I put in a safe spot. Oh, look. Oh my God, I put it right where I could reach it. So I've got an embossing dabber here. will give me nice random bits. Let me get my heat gun plugged in. Exactly. All right. I'm just going to randomly hang on. I need to get rid of these balls out of here. Before I use it again. I have a little dish over the back here hanging off one of those things that hang off the side of your cart. So anytime I get stuff like this, I just take the hand and I drop it in that little box over there. So at the end of the month, I have this gorgeous lot of random sparkle and grunge and balls and that I can just glue down on stuff. This is fun. So this is aged rose. That'll do. It's a red one. Aged rose embossing enamel, and it has, not only does it have embossing powder in there, it also has chunks of gold and copper and bronze and all of that sort of stuff. So I'm going to do a layer of this one, and then I've got another color that I'm going to pull out and do over the top of this once it's dried.
That's not good. Oh, there it goes.
Spice. That's what I want. Did you do any more of that pretty teal blue color? Dyed papers. I love dyed papers. I love all the dyed papers you do, Debbie and Jen, and who else does dyed papers? I have jealousy.
Dyed paper jealousy?
Yeah.
Do I want to do? All right, audience participation time again. For those of you who weren't here before, I'll ask a question. You get to answer, and then I will take the majority rules. Di apparently does not get a vote. All right, this is going to be the back of the tag. Do we want to go paper that has that little bit of, maybe this side, paper that's got some grunge going on? Or do we want to use this very cool rustic colored handmade paper that looks almost like suede?
Wow, that's very cool.
Decisions. I think this is wide enough. Yeah, this is wide enough. This is piece of scrap. Rustic. All right. Lindy says votes rustic. Anybody? Any other voters?
Get your votes in. Paper with grunge, rustic.
Rustic.
2 for rustics.
2 for 2. Oh, 2 more rustics. Whoop, that's one person. Rustic wins. This one?
Rustic wins.
All right.
Rustic
wins.
Rustic for the win.
Winner, chicken dinner. Save the leather for later. I think I remember where I got this. There's an art store here in St. Louis that has handmade papers, and I think I got it there. This is not my last piece. This just happens to be the piece that was closest in size. So I have more. I'm my general approach is use the china. I don't hoard anything. I don't, even some of the most precious things, if I think it's going to work and what I'm working on, I use it. And I actually really do use my great grandmother's china as my everyday dish. So I am definitely a use the china kind of person.
I am now, after hoarding for years, art supplies. What am I hoarding for?
If I can't get it again and when it's gone, then so be it. It wasn't meant for me to have anymore.
Well, I've lost so many dollars worth of art supplies by hoarding. They go off, they go hard, they go out of stock, all of that sort of stuff. And a lot of the stuff that we hoard, as in like mediums and that sort of thing, because, it's really cool and it costs you a lot of money and you end up throwing it in the bin, you can make yourself out of stuff you've already got here.
Yeah, there are a lot of wonderful homemade recipes for mediums online. Ooh, I like that. Cool. Glue.
And the thing about having one-off items and you use it in a journal or on a card or something like that, someone is buying or receiving a one-off item that nobody else in the world will ever have.
Right.
That little treasure of a piece of metal that you found in an op shop or an antique store that, is 100 years old, it's going to be another 100 years old because somebody is treasuring it as well.
Yes, and it's turned into a piece of art as, to boot, which is just all the more special. Yeah. That's why when I'm working with mixed media pieces, I like to create pieces, assemblage pieces from things that I have found at estate sales and vintage market sales and thrift stores and all of that kind of stuff. And just figure out ways to sort of make all of those pieces come together in a new life.
Yes.
And that's always my goal.
Repurpose, upcycle. I love it. And I'm going to teach myself to MIG weld this year. That's my goal.
To do what?
MIG weld. I'm going to weld pieces of metal together.
Ooh, I want to be at your house.
I'm going to teach myself. Well, my husband's going to teach me how to use the machine, but I've got so many horseshoes and bits of rusty old metal and parts off hot rods that we don't need anymore. And I want to make something. I want to make a big horse out of metal and driftwood. to sit in my garden.
Oh, that'd be fun.
There's some texture, which I will put in my little holder up there and just rip pieces off when I want to make something. So he's doing good. Yep, he's back to annoying me full time. Came back. So just when you want to make a little bit of texture, just rip it off. Then you've got a layer already done.
Nice.
So that's another thing. Texture made, card made. What else? What else did we have? What else did I say I was going to do? I was going to fix my camera because it's moved again.
Took my clamps off.
It does, Cindy. It does look like a sheet of rusty tin, and it's just using the enamels, like the embossing powders, on packaging. So very cool. I was going to see if I could colour some of this, but I think this is going to be too smelly for inside.
Look,
oh, yeah.
I have a piece left. I can use that.
So I've got this roll of copper mesh, and it's very bright. It's very, very bright. And I have alcohol inked it, some of it. That goes very well. I have used those patinas on it. That goes very well because they have that thickness to them that gives you a little bit more grunge inside that. It's so fine. Look how fine it is.
Oh, I like that.
It's really, really cool. But I want to try the liver of sulfur on it, but I have to do that outside. I can't do that in here because it stinks.
Yeah, it stinks. I want to see that though when you do. That'll be fun.
So this is the gel. I used to use the gel as well as the liquid as well, but the gel was easy to apply with a damp cloth onto my stained glass when I made stained glass stuff. In a past life, you know how we all have those boxes and boxes of past craft life. So that one is going to have to be for that side. I'll put that one over there on my tray. Two tags. What am I going to do with it? Oh, this copper tape. I'm going to have a play with this.
Pam was asking, it doesn't dry stiff.
What's that? What doesn't dry stiff? What are we talking about?
Oh, good night, Diane. Or Penka. No. Yes. Good night, Penka. Sorry, I read that wrong.
Good night, Penka.
She says does it dry stiff? Was that when you were talking about the adding the mesh?
Are you talking about the gel? I'm talking about this gel, liver of sulfur gel. Is that what you're talking about? On the cardboard. Oh, we're talking about the enamel embossing powders on the cardboard. Because it's corrugated, you've still got that flexibility horizontally, I suppose, where the gullies are in your But yes, it does. It will crunch. It will crack and crunch if you move it. So yeah, it does dry hard. If you know how to knit or crochet, you can make a nice open weave like copper. Yes, you can, for sure. But this stuff is so cheap. This mesh, this whole roll of mesh, which is actually doubled over. So it's actually 2-ply. It's very hard to show you. It's like a sock, I suppose. You could put it in that, like it's a sleeve of copper. But this whole roll was only something like $7. So that's cheap, and that goes such a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Who's leaving?
That's the point.
Who's leaving? Good night, Lindy. Night. Hi, Sandy. How you going? Good night, Lindy. Good night, Carmen. Who else is leaving? Bye, Mariah. Okay.
Bye. Bye, Carmen.
Everybody's leaving us.
Oh, we are getting late. Okay, let's see if I can wrap this up.
Yeah. Okay.
Glue, glue, glue.
Okay, somebody was leaving. No rotten headballs allowed. Goodbye to whoever was leaving, and welcome back to all those that I said goodbye to and never left.
All right, that's not cooperating.
We don't get anything cool like that at our cheap shops. Patty, nothing at all similar. If I could find copper in our cheap shops, I would be a happy girl.
Nope, that's not going to work. Yes, that will.
So this copper tape was in my stained glass box of tools and stuff, and it's naturally patinaed in the box. Look at that. It's already got a patina on it.
Oh, nice.
But I'm thinking now that I want to take all that off and colour that tag first.
Where is my rusty fabric? Here it is.
Good night, Ray. Can't wish kept my bye. It was just chaos in the audience. Everybody was saying goodbye and nobody was leaving. Leaving? Right. I'm going to finish that off. And when I do the patina, the liquid sulfur gel stuff on the mesh, I will put a picture on Instagram of that one.
Oh, good.
I was just going to show you this rust using, so the distress glaze. So here's a rusty snowflake. That is quite powdery still, so it's still got a lot of that powder on.
Oops, bumped my camera.
And if you just clean your finger first, get a tiny little bit on your finger and rub it all over your bits of rust. When it dries like it makes it really dark when it's still wet, but when it dries, the rust shows back through and the rust doesn't come off anymore. And it doesn't have a shine either when it dries. So that's another way to preserve your rusty bits. Where'd my bit of drying stuff go?
Okay, we're getting ready to do audience participation again here soon. So.
Exactly.
I got another question for everybody.
All right, let me put on your question.
All right, so this is almost ready to call sort of finished. The question is, this needs splatters, in my opinion. Splatters on top. Do we want to go white splatters? Maybe a creamy colored splatter or black splatters? Or gold. I don't know if I've got any gold.
Have you got any bronze?
Not in a liquid. Not in a liquid. I don't have any metallic. I don't use metallic paints very often, or at all, actually.
They're great for splatters.
Great. I might have. Hang on. I know what I got. I got an idea. Hang on 1 second. Ha! Here it is.
I think black would be too much because you don't have any real black in your piece, but it would stand out.
How's about antique copper? You can tell it's been a minute since I've used. See, look, I'm going to use it. Let's see if I can get that off of there without getting antique copper all over me. There we go.
Oh,
how about
copper
splatters in that? Yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Let's do it. Oh, wait a minute. I'm supposed to let everybody vote.
Oh, psh.
Okay, Linda.
I'm being quiet.
I know.
I didn't vote. I just made a suggestion. I did not vote. So technically I'm okay. Yes.
Lindy, you only get one vote, Lindy. I mean, come on. That was like 3 votes. Okay.
Dawn Marie says always white and black splatters on everything. No, not always. Not always.
No, yeah, not always. And I don't always splatter, but this just feels like that it needs that extra. And actually, what I would typically do if I'm going to splatter is I would actually probably cover his wings. In this case, I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to try to get some splatter on.
We've got a copper and gold, copper and cream. So 2 different colored splatters.
Okay. What about this idea? What if we splatter copper around the wing area? No, let's do it the other way around. Let's splatter copper around the card area and maybe some cream colored splatters right on the wings.
Nice.
Okay, let's do it. Let's try it. Let's see what happens.
Mariah says, when I splatter, it's usually in gold.
Oh, see, I don't think I even have any gold paint, Mariah. Okay, cream. Hang on, I gotta find some. Here we go. Tighten up. Titan Buff would be the cream. There we go.
It sounds like one of my digitals, Titan Buff.
Titan Buff. This is golden. This is a fluid acrylic, which is a beautiful acrylic to use for splatters. And this is Nova Colors. And I haven't even had it that long, but I haven't used it that much. But I fell in love with it. It's antique copper, pearlescent, opaque. So it's got that little bit of, that extra shimmer to it. But I fell in love with it. Okay. Let's see what I say. Okay, we'll splatter the wings. Okay, here we go. You can take it off me while I splatter.
No, we're watching you splatter.
You're gonna watch me splatter.
Absolutely.
I'm going to. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to splatter the copper. So I'm going to cover his wings with some.
If I made it, she would buy it. I can tell you now, Cookie Wookie, she would. She says Mama Juju would buy the Titan Buff digital.
I don't want to get this too big. Well, here, let's do it this way. Let's go. Oops. There we go. That'll work. Because if I get a little tiny copper on the wings, I'm not going to cry. Okay.
Oh, there you go. Cindy says, if I was voting a second colour, I would say electric blue to go against that copper.
That would be pretty. Now where's my water? Water. Okay. So now I want to splatter. I'm going to use a fan brush to splatter. What did I say I was going to do first? Copper. Now, I don't know, honestly, how this paint will react to adding some water to it, but I do want to get it a little bit thinner than what it is.
Yep.
So we may end up with an ugly color here. Just a couple spritzes is all I'm doing. Spritzes. This brush is falling apart. It's really old.
Toothbrushes work great for splattering.
Yes. I happen to not have my toothbrush in here in the room right now. But I've got a couple of them actually, but they're both in the drying bin in the other room. Fan brushes are okay too. Any kind of brush, really. I mean, it just kind of depends on what kind of splatter you want too.
Correct.
Right? They are going to give you a little bit of a different effect. This one will work. I just take another something, doesn't matter what.
A hard surface. There you go.
Something to be a hammer, and I am going to actually put this on the paper and attempt to. Okay, here we go. Splatter.
No, Cindy, just no. Capital N, capital O, no. I am not messing up my program again. Silliness.
Listen to those splatters down here.
It'll be a week to get over the gnomes that Mama Juju asked me for, sexy gnomes, for goodness sake.
And away we go. Okay, that's probably enough. I have splatters all over the place. Okay, now this is going to be, let me dry this real quick because I don't want to smear my, here, I'll show you. There you can kind of see.
Very cool. Those gnomes were creepy. They weren't funny at all. They were creepy little gnomes. And here I was making an absolutely beautiful abandoned garden with, broken fence and rusty hands and an old wheels leaning up against the fence. And here in the background, this tiny little shirtless gnome popped up in the background.
That's probably good enough. Now, I just used the paper towel that I was ripping up, so we'll just rip up another one. This time, I'm going to cover most of the card. Let's see. No, let's cover up his antlers too. I have to push those down still. Okay, like that. Oh, wait a minute. I can go under this. Duh. It's not stuck down. I'm sitting here trying to go around it. It's like, well, all I got to do is go under it. There we go. There we go. It's just wings. It's not anything important. So this is already fluid acrylic. Fluid acrylic is not as thick, doesn't have as much substance to it as a regular acrylic paint would. So adding water to it, you just go a little easier. But fluid acrylics maintain their saturation beautifully, even though they're more liquid.
Thank you, Mo. That is absolutely correct. All my digitals have abs.
Here's another splatter brush. Another fan brush. Get that water stirred up in there.
You girls are horrible. Don't know why I put up with you.
All right, we're going to go a little heavier. I always kind of hold my breath when I do this.
Breath. We're all holding our breath.
Like, am I ruining it? Did I go too far? Did I not go far enough?
Well, so if you go too far, you can always paint over it.
Oops, that one I probably went too far. A little bit more. There, we're stopping. No, we're not. Okay, now we're stopping.
That is true, Cindy. That is true.
There's sort of globby up here, but I'm just going to leave it. It'll just add that much to the grunge.
Globs are fine. That's more texture.
Yep.
That's very cool.
Okay. Now this is essentially done, except they're never done, right?
Correct.
So what I want to do, and this goes back to a comment earlier about adding blue. I'm not going to add blue, but what I am going to do is I'm going to go back over this and with my, whatever I did with it, here it is, with my patina wax. And I'm going to add a little bit more patina to this just to get a little bit more color in that.
Oh, that's very cool.
And then I'm going to be able to call it done, I think. So where do I want it?
That looks fabulous. Fabulous.
So I'm just going to go kind of around the edge a little bit, I think. Get some of that.
You know that here I am pointing at the screen. Can you see me pointing at the screen?
I can.
That big there. That packaging paper you've got underneath all that actually looks like what's that stuff that they put on the floors of flash trucks and things? The
flash trucks.
The flash trucks, like the fancy hot rod trucks, they put that metal floor down. What's it called?
Oh, I don't know.
Had it in my mouth. Now I've lost it. Can't remember now. It'll come to me, but it looks like metal. It does look like metal. It has drainage in it. You know, they put that metal down. It's like woven metal.
Yeah. No, I have no idea what that stuff's called. I'm putting some on the fabric too.
Mariah says she would like to see this in person. I can provide my address.
I can provide mine and you can come visit me. How's that?
Yes, I do. I will be putting the products that I've used down below. I will be doing that. We only grabbed these 5 minutes before we went live, so we just started throwing out ideas and got inspired.
Okay, now I got to flip it over because there's stuff going on in the back too. So don't forget about the back. I'll say that out loud because I'm telling myself, don't forget about the back. Most people wouldn't do it.
Flash, not flesh.
Okay.
Flash. F-L-A-S-H. Flash. Fancy.
I got something.
Oh, an arty date.
Oh, look, I got copper on the back. Oops.
Oh, what a shame.
Oh, well. Now I got to feel like I should put more. See it?
Yeah, well, you've got it on there. You have to put more now.
I do. All right, hang on. I got wax all over my finger. I mean, it's right here. It'd be a shame to waste it. That's kind of what this is all about, right? Don't let your stuff sit on the shelf and waste away.
That's it.
Don't let paint that you've mixed up waste away either.
Correct.
Use it up. All right, here we go. That needs more water. It's not going to splatter. There we go.
You girls, there's a language barrier here. You don't understand my accent that I don't have.
It took me a second to get what you were saying too. And back here, I'm not going to go all over. I'm just going to hit a couple spots. So I'm a huge fan of threes in design, interior design, graphic design, a lot of the visual design arts. 3 is a magic number. So
absolutely.
And so it's, rules are made to be broken, but you have to learn the rules in order to break them, right? But 3s, when you present things in 3s, it is more pleasant to the eye than in even numbers. 3, 5 even is better than even numbers like 2 or 4. So the same holds true on composition. When you're putting things together, you think in terms of 3s. The
way I look at the 3 thing is you have a background, a contrast, and somewhere for your eye to rest.
Yes, that's also a theory of 3s, a different kind of theory. Like everything, there's a ton of theories in the graphic arts or in the arts, and there's a bunch of them that are centered around 3s. So that's one of them. This is more about 3 pieces or 3 areas.
Because most of my mixed media, there's never any place for the eye to rest, so just keeps giving.
Oops, that was so wet on the front, and I flipped it over. Well, how smart was that? What did I do? Oh, no.
You're done.
Oh, no, I smeared it. Oh, well.
It's fine. It's all fine.
It actually looks fine. It just grunged it up that much more.
That is so cool. Because even numbers are orderly and don't create the push and pull of stress in your brain. The brain prefers balance, but not necessarily symmetry. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. What she said.
Yes.
And I intentionally don't center things either. You can see like here, like if I wanted this to be pretty and perfect and not grungy, I probably would have centered it. But because I want it to be grungy and just something about it is a little off that adds to that grunge factor, it's off to the side. It's not centered. Even the moth on the inside is not centered directly into that frame. Actually, it looks like he is, but he's not. He's actually catty corner a little.
Gorgeous. That is awesome.
And there's the the 3 we were talking about. This is one area. That's one. And that's one.
That's very cool. I love that copper, that splatter. That's really cool.
Whoever voted for copper, good idea.
It wasn't me. I wasn't allowed to vote. It was a suggestion.
Mariah started it with the whole gold, and I'm like, oh, I don't have gold, which is surprising. As much paint as I have, that none of the paint I have is gold, but it's not. So, so we'll blame Mariah.
Awesome. So that was really cool. I am going to. So here's what I made. I did the swatching of all the different texture paste. So that glass bead one is actually almost dry. So it will be completely whatever the color background is with the glass beads, which throws the color around as well.
So pretty.
So I did that one. I showed you how to keep your rust and use the distress glaze to cover your rust to keep your rust. That's not quite dry yet. I did the enamel embossing on the corrugated cardboard, which you just pull off pieces to make clusters. And then I did a tag. So that was the 3 colors smooshing the piece of corrugated cardboard. I did some stitching with wire. And, yeah, I stuck a star on the top there, rusty star.
That's cool.
And I've just used some of that clean-up cheesecloth. Clean-up cheesecloth as a tie. So there's some grunge. Hope you enjoyed it, everybody. I have an absolute
and it's all cool. And as much as we used, I can sit here. There's still some things sitting on my desk that I didn't touch. I can think
mine too.
You know, I think before we came on, Di and I were talking, and I said, you know, there's thousands of ways, probably more, to add grunge and add those. Just remember, like, don't just do one thing. Do multiple things. Do layers. Lots of layers help with that grunge look. I mean, if you're really working and trying to get stuff grungy, do a lot of different things, but be careful not to do too much because you can. And that's going to get you there. It's going to get you in a nice place.
And also, the thing, if you do too much, there's this awesome stuff called gesso. You just
true.
Go over the top of it and start again, and go. Well, I shouldn't have put that bit in, so leave that bit out and start again.
Yep. Gesso is your friend. If you don't have gesso, go buy some tomorrow, please.
Yeah, I have black and white gesso. It's one of my most used.
Well, hopefully this was helpful and inspiring for people especially who want to play with some grungy stuff.
Well, it was inspiring for me, and it gave me the push again. Use it or lose it, people. I've thrown 3 tubs of quite expensive medium into the bin now because they're hard as a rock. They're never going to be able to be bought back by a spritz of water or anything like that because I haven't used it. I've used other stuff, and you get your favorites and you keep using your favorite, and then you buy your favorite again, and you buy your favorite again, and that stuff sits on the shelf and gets left behind, and it dries out, and you've wasted money. You paid money for that medium. So have a look around your room and look at the stuff that you bought.
Oh, and I just had an idea.
You saw Mariah use it and you had to have it, or you saw Kip use it and you had to have it, or you saw me use it and you had to have it, and you've only used it once. So we've shown you ways of using that one product in different ways. So pull them all out and use them. Don't lose them.
I have an idea. Is CK, to answer your question, no, it's not really heavy at all. There's really not that, it looks like there's a lot on there, but there's nothing real weighty that's on here on this particular piece. I have made tags that are really heavy before. I think we should give everybody homework, Di. Your homework is to go find one product on your shelf that you have not used, that is in jeopardy of being ruined because you haven't used it, ruined, dried up, whatever, and do something with it. Is that good homework?
All right. And here's another step. Here's a hashtag for you to use on Instagram so we can have a look at all that stuff. Use hashtag, use it, Kip and Die. There you go. There's a hashtag for you. Let me write it down. And then we can see what you're using. I love seeing other people's work. I love it.
That'll be fun.
So hashtag, use it.
Oh, Cookie wrote it down.
And Die. Beautiful. Thanks, Kip. Oh, Mo, you're a legend. Isn't she the best mod ever?
She's awesome. Well, thank you again, Di, for having me. It was a pleasure. I appreciate the invite, and I'm so glad that I was able to make it and we were able to work it out.
Oh,
and
me too. That was awesome. I had a lot of fun. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to go over and give Debbie some love on her page. It's linked in the More section. And let's see some of these hashtags on Instagram. That would be a lot of fun.
That would be a blast.
Such a kick out of that. I would, really would. I would. All right. Thanks very much, everyone, for coming. I appreciate you all. Thanks, Deb, for being craft drafted. Next week is Debbie Epps. She's up to the plate. And what are we making, Debbie? I haven't got my thing in there. We are making Debbie, what are we making? I can't remember.
I'm looking. I haven't seen her respond yet.
Yep, where are you? Cards. There we go. We're making cards.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
Yes. All righty. So see you next week. See you Wednesday for Jen, Fiddly Bits, and myself making that rusty journal out of our collaboration. Lots of rust, so a lot of this rust going in the journal. Right, I'm going now. Out of here.
Bye.
Bye.